And welcome back to Property Palz. My name is Ben.
My name is Marcus.
And we are super duper fragilistic, expialidocious, incredibly excited to be back this week for another episode of
Property
the one,
Palz.
the only Property
Yeah,
Palz.
Ben, have you been watching Mary Poppins?
Well, I've felt that there's a spoonful of sugar helps the interest rates go down.
Oh!
And I'll tell you what, we need to be eating a lot of sugar at the moment.
Get that spoonful in.
Now, we hope you've all had a good week. We hope you've all been looking at the properties. Now, we have been keeping a keen eye on
Very
5
keen.
incredible properties which we have to introduce this week. Now, I think very, very short introduction. Interest rates still going up. Still a bit of uncertainty in the market. Prices are holding. In fact, there's been a lot of media recently that unit prices, due to the lack of supply, are going to continue to go up and may end up outpricing house price appreciation. And that's going to be underpinned a bit by rental appreciation too as well.
Which is going up rapidly too. It's something funny on the weekend before we get into it. I read an article, I think it was on one of the property things. Somebody bid for a property, they were the winning bidder, and then they didn't understand what the number was that they bid up to, and they didn't buy the property, they walked away.
They did a runner.
They did a runner.
Well, under
Has that
the
been done
rules,
before?
It has. Well, some people do it consciously, not too many people unconsciously, but
They kept on bidding up, and then they didn't realise what number they got to. I think it was like 2.9 million.
and did a runner.
Did a runner.
Well, generally, once it's gone down, there's a contract with the person
Yeah.
that bought it. So, but I guess if they run away and you don't chase after them, well, it's very difficult to find out who they were.
You got to find that underbidder
So keep those eyes on those bidders.
on those prizes.
Anyway, let's get into it. Number 5, Marcus, I have a property right in one of the coolest suburbs in Melbourne. We are right in the heart of Collingwood. Now, this property is Unit 2, 30 Napoleon Street, Collingwood. And this one is Napoleon Dynamite Good.
Oh, is it now, Ben?
It is the quote is between $1.1 million to $1.2 million. This is
What's wrong?
this is it's a house or a townhouse. I'm just trying to tell you about it. I think it's a 3-bed. Mark, you might just get it up.
I'll just get the floorie.
What are we? It's a going to get there very, very soon. Taking the slow way. Okay. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath house over 3 levels. So we've got the car park for 1 car down below. Then we've got a bedroom on ground, living room, and then 2 bedrooms upstairs. Now, overall, I thought this is a very attractive property because it's in a very attractive suburb that's highly gentrifying. It is, you do own a little bit of land. You do own, you've got from the ground to the top of it, and you've got, you're kind of right in the heart of everything. So it's like a warehouse style conversion. I think it is a new build, but warehouse style conversion. The look of it, some people will love it, some people won't love it. I think overall the layout's pretty good, don't you reckon? It's got a nice balcony. It's got an atrium, which is okay. So some of the bedrooms will get natural light. It's not as good as having a proper view, but overall I thought it might be something that could be for, some sort of couple or young family. It might be quite attractive.
Now, Ben, atrium in the middle. So that is... Why does it say atrium and one say light well?
Because the atrium's up the top, so then you've got the natural light coming up the top, then the light well is the second level down, and so it's just
a light well.
Well, yeah, it's like it's a
light
definition,
well.
I guess.
So, light well, what do you think? The light well's going into the living and dining
Actually,
room.
you're right. Sorry, the light well is the second floor, so you've got your living room upstairs, which I guess is the main area where you're going to spend most of your times. Then you've got 2 bedrooms on level 1, and then actually, one more time, we're going to get this right. On the ground floor, first floor you've got your bedrooms. Second floor you've got your living room. Third floor you've got your master bedroom, which is on top, and it's got also a balcony. We got there in the end, guys.
Yeah. No, well, it's facing south, Ben.
That's right. So you might find that it feels a little bit dark, that balcony area and the orientation of it. Also, too, it's in amongst quite some tall developments. So directly across the road from it is a development which is done by Blue Earth Group. It's called Lawson, and it's, I think, about 8 levels or so. And so it might be quite imposing for some people. But then again, you're right in the heart of things. The other properties around you aren't as tall, and the other ones that are fairly high and more densely developed are quite far away. There's quite a lot of development as you get down to Bedford Street. Also on Otter Street, there's Milieu, Milieu just finished one development on Bedford Street, and then they're also doing another one on Otter Street, which isn't too far away, close to Smith Street. And then also too, on the opposite side of the street from you next door to the Lantern development by Blue Earth Group is one of Tim Gurner's early developments, which was Urban Inc. did the development originally when Tim was there, and so that one there, it's about 230 or so apartments too. But look, you're around quite a dense area. There's people. It's cool. Yeah, you're right. It's got a bit of exposed concrete on the inside.
We like that, the exposed concrete. I'm not sure about the natural light. I'm not sure if I love the aspect of it. But then again, 1.1 to 1.2 million dollars last sold.
Little bit of land.
2009 was 745k. Did you say that already?
No, I did not. So it's a very keen observation market.
And a solid option.
Yeah. So number 5. Anyway, number 4. What do we got, Marcus?
Now, Benjamin, you are a star, and I think you've chosen this one for me this week. So
did I really?
3010 /100 Harbour Esplanade Docklands. Now, 2-bed, 2-bath, 1 car. It says 97 square metres, but Ben, we're not sure. We think that might be just including the balcony, which
May include the balcony.
you don't tend to do. But if we'll just say it's 97 square metres, so it's quoting 740 to 800k for 2-bed, 2-bath, 1 car. So it would be approximately, quick maths, I'm just trying to think.
On, 1, 2, 3.
$8,250 per square metre.
Okay,
Now,
there we go. Under 10 grand a square metre.
is that low, Ben?
Well, I think what you find some of the existing apartments, particularly in those bigger developments and particularly in South Bank and or Docklands as well, sometimes you do get the lower building rate. And to be honest, to build something like this nowadays for that sort of price, it is very difficult to build an apartment for that much on a square metre rate.
I could almost say that you cannot build a large apartment development on a square metre rate of that.
It's very difficult.
And the difference between trying to build, if your sale rate's only $8,250 and your build rate's $8,000, your construction cost, or your all-in rate, it's very hard to make money.
So that's one thing that's attractive about this is that it isn't a very high square metre rate. It is Docklands though, and now there's a couple of issues with certain suburbs which our Property Palz buyers need to make sure they do their due diligence before they buy. What is that, Marcus?
And Ben, I think with banks as well at the moment, we're seeing banks being more restrictive on their lending for certain suburbs. And when I say restrictive is, for example, in Docklands, I know in the past, Ben, you might know more recently, but in the past, some banks would look at Docklands and say, hey, it's got a lot of similar stock, and for that reason we actually think it's harder to move on properties and sell them. They're constantly being sold, but there's tons of them, so we want you to have a larger deposit or a larger equity component.
And so what banks talk about your loan to value ratio, and so that is how big the loan is compared to the price of the property. And in certain suburbs that tend to be more densely developed, like Docklands, South Bank, the CBD, sometimes South Yarra has even crept into that, sometimes North Melbourne and Carlton have crept into that as well. And different banks have different requirements. So it's not like one bank will always have this for Docklands, it changes for banks. So make sure that you ask lots of different banks about their requirements and make sure that you really understand it before you buy, because you might have a 20% deposit, but they only will loan 70% for certain suburbs. And Docklands sometimes, because there's a lot of apartments that have been developed there over the last 10 or 20 years, so sometimes that's a requirement. But what else about this layout, Marcus?
Ben, we love this layout. Like, look at this. It has this is actually what's called essentially a dual key apartment. Now, I've had experience with this.
Oh.
A little bit. No, we've looked at it for different projects that I've been involved in, and some of them we haven't gone ahead for reasons that if it's a build to rent or if it's a build to sell, if you wanted to subdivide eventually, you'd lose NSA with the entryway, so it's not really usable.
And NSA is net saleable area,
Correct.
so it's the area that you can sell.
But this one's really good. So if I was a student and I wanted to buy a property and I wanted to have some assistance looking at paying off my loan, a dual key apartment like this is great because you could get the bedroom studio, or you could have it outside, and you could separate the spaces, and then you could also rent it out to someone else. So it's good because the dual key means that it's got a studio inside it that's got a kitchenette. So it's basically a separate space.
And so we've had the floor plans up here for the last little bit, so you might have noticed that you can see the bedroom/studio. That one is, you can live in that by itself. It's got its own kitchen, it's got its own bedroom, it's got its own bathroom. So like a studio apartment, whereas the other bedroom is like a 1-bedroom apartment. It's got a bedroom, toilets, and it has a living room, balcony. So it's got everything that you need. but they are separated if you wanted to. So if you were someone, you wanted to lease out that other bedroom, very easy to do, particularly for students and stuff. That studio would probably be quite attractive, particularly in the current rate environment where the supply or vacancy rate is so low for apartments. But something like this, or even you could Airbnb that apartment if you wanted to, and then it would be easy to manage if you're there. But I guess the most important thing though is make sure you ask your banks if you're getting a loan, because while that might be good that you're getting rent from that apartment, if you need to have a higher deposit rate, then it might actually not be feasible at all.
The last thing I just wanted to touch base, why is it called a dual key apartment, is essentially that you can have 2 keys or 3 keys. So one of them, you can have a lockable studio, and then you can have also a lockable entryway to your next kind of living, dining room, bedroom. It's like 2 apartments in one.
Love it.
So 97 square metres, only on the 30th floor position in the popular Victoria Point complex.
Oh.
Gosh, I know it. Haven't been in it.
Designed by
Who's it designed by? Oh,
Buchan.
How do you say it?
Buchan.
Buchan Apartments.
Buchan
I think
Architects.
Buchan Apartments, but
Buchan.
Buchan. 42 levels. OC fees are up there high, just under 7k per annum, and you know why that is, Ben?
Why is that?
I think it's got a pool and it's got a fair few facilities, I believe.
And there's always a balancing aspect, isn't there? With bigger complexes, they have lots more facilities, and those facilities cost money to manage. But then again, with bigger complexes, there's more apartments, so then naturally there's more people that kind of can pay for their OC fees.
Yeah, oh, exactly. And then it's got a great view, not a huge balcony. You're fair way up. I'm not sure how dusty it would get up there and windy, but you know what? Do you want to, what's this?
And there was a fun fact that we found out that Underbelly, which was a Melbourne TV series, oh gosh, 10 years ago, 10,
plus,
15 years ago, about the underworld in Melbourne, or like the underground society of criminals and stuff.
Criminals, yeah.
15 years ago, they filmed part of the episodes in this complex.
Wow.
So there you go.
Then, Ben, we'll go on to number 3 just after I say that it was built in 2006 and last sold in 2017 for 672k. Last sold in 2011 for 635k. Not much capital gain.
Okay, so,
Big
but
geezer.
with that said, then with all this rental increases, maybe we'll see this.
Yep.
Anyway, let's get into number 3. Number 3, we're going over to Richmond, and we're Unit 6 at 1 Barnet Way. Now, this property is really, really interesting because it's a conversion. Originally, this was GTV9 Studios, and so GTV9 is Channel 9.
Yep.
And this area used to be actually, originally I think it was designed, it was like a piano manufacturer's warehouse in 1909. And then later on it became a studio for where the filming of a lot of TV series, including The Footy Show.
Oh, really?
Including Hey Hey It's Saturday. For some of our older viewers might remember, it used to be a very, very popular show that was on Saturdays back, I think, in the 90s and maybe the early 2000s. It was originally Saturday. And so this used to be a filming studio, and then it was converted. Lend-Lease did the conversion. I think, there you go. Hay Ball, one of the local Melbourne architect studio, helped do the conversion, and it was converted back in, oh gosh, it would have been 10 or 15 years ago.
Did Hay Ball do it, Ben?
Yeah, they did.
Wow,
into like, a cool warehouse converted apartments. And so this one here, I didn't even say. You would have seen up here on our screen, it's a 2-bed, 2-bath, 2 cars, so very good for young professionals, couples, old professionals, older couples, family with a kid. Very, very attractive, and 2 cars, which is attractive. So quote, as you can see, $1 million to 1.1. Now, that's a lot of money for some people, but then again, that is for this sort of property in a great suburb like Richmond, in a cool, converted warehouse, and you can see on some of these photos, they are big windows.
Oh, and high ceilings, aren't they?
High clearance or high ceilings, so you'd feel very spacious on the inside. So this would be a very attractive property, I think. Good layout too as well, Marcus. What do you reckon of that?
Yeah, solid layout. Like, it's got the separation of the building. Sorry, the bedrooms, the acoustic
and separated by the bathrooms.
By the bathrooms, and it's got a living
Ensuite
room.
to the
And
main.
then it's facing northwest.
Yeah,
North.
so orientation is very, very good as well. Also, the kitchen is a little bit of separation there with the L-shaped kitchen. 2 cars. It's got a storage cage, which we know is very useful.
Now, Ben, this is heritage. This doesn't have a land component, but it kind of does. Like,
Well, yeah,
overall
maybe.
of the apartment development, but you can't really go because it's a heritage building.
That's right.
You can't knock it down.
But difficult to kind of...
How big would it be?
I'm not entirely sure, Marcus.
Let's say 2-bed. Would it be 80 square metres?
Yeah, maybe you're right, 80, maybe a little bit more. So it's over 10 grand a square metre, I think, when you're comparing it for on a square metre rate. But then again, great area, converted warehouse, and the clearance is much higher than the average apartment. North facing, 2-bedroom. It's close to Burnley Station, Burnley Park, Yarra River, and a lot of the office developments that are going on in Burnley and Cremorne at the moment. So also two last sold for 1.066 million in December 16. So, but that there wasn't really sure, because when I was looking on it, it looked like it only had one car when that sold. Now it's got two. So I'm not sure what's happened there, but I'd rather have two cars than one.
In December 2016, that was when the peak of the market, right? Was it? Well, I'm pretty sure around that time it peaked.
Well, I think, around to 16, 17, but that is quite
7
a long time
years.
ago, and it hasn't really appreciated much. So there might be a little bit more uplift in terms of this sale than the quote range of what it is. But anyway, attractive apartment. So on to number 2, Marcus.
Now, number 2 is actually 9 of number 2, Lawson Grove, South Yarra. Ben. This one is a unique one. I wouldn't say... Not the... I don't know. It's unique. I think that's the right word. One bed, one bath, 0 car. It's very cute, Ben. Built in 1930.
Oh.
Auction 450 to 480k. So
there we go.
It is a small apartment. I've approximated only between 50 to 55 square metres. So it would be approx 9,600 a square metre.
Okay. Circa
or
10k a square metre.
It's on the top level of the Manor Art Deco building designed by Howard Rateliff. What does that say?
Lawson. Howard Lawson.
Art Deco, Spanish Mission, Hollywood style. Only 9 apartments in the building.
Wow.
So it's very, I call that the boutique.
And this one here is actually the penthouse. It's on the top floor.
Now this must be the smallest penthouse you've ever seen, Ben.
Well, interestingly, it's not, because we did a penthouse, remember, a couple of episodes ago, which was only about 40 square metres.
Oh yeah, true.
Right,
that
the
was
CBD.
penthouse. Yeah.
But this one here, though, very great area, South Yarra. It's an older sort of building. You can see there's some work on the ceilings and stuff, so that will attract a lot of people. The exposed timber floorboards. The one thing I might point out, though, is banks too now, when it's a little bit more nervous about what's going on with prices, they sometimes have requirements that they won't loan on less than 50 square metre apartments. So before you buy an apartment that is smaller, particularly 1 bedrooms, you really want to make sure that if your bank has that sort of requirement, make sure that you know if the bank has that requirement, and also you know at how big your apartment is.
Yes, Ben, I agree. So the bathrooms are a little bit tight. I think they need a little bit of an update. But what do you think about the layout? It's quite...
I think it's okay.
Yeah,
you come in the entry, I mean, the bathroom, kitchen straight away, maybe not ideal, but then separated from the living room and the bedroom, there is good separation there. If you really, really wanted to, and, oh no, you need to go to the bedroom.
Where's
there.
the balcony, Ben?
No balcony.
No, there is a balcony, though.
Or is it just a Juliet? Oh yeah, there is. There is. Or is that a communal area?
No, I think that is the balcony.
There you go. Well, on the floor plans, it looks like there's not a balcony, but make sure you go inspect and double check whether you got a balcony or not.
Facing north as well.
Very good.
If you want a small space, you want it to be your own, and you like a bit of a South Yarra, I think this is quite a unique option, Ben. Would you buy it?
Well, I would first make sure that I do my DD and make sure that I can get a loan from my bank. But for a one person to be in a cute Art Deco older style building, yeah, I think it's got X factor.
I think it does. I just... sometimes when you've got these smaller apartments, they're a bit harder to move in terms of sale, and their appreciation's less because they appeal to not as many people.
True, but in this sort of environment, as long as the banks will loan on this, then maybe it is, because people's budgets, interest rates going up, maybe one person it might be okay.
Yeah.
But you're right, 1 bed is sometimes more difficult to sell than 2 bedders, but all depends on price, I guess. Okay.
Number 1, Benny boy.
Number 1, let's smash through it. Now, this one here, we're going right into the centre of the CBD at 9 Degraves Street, Melbourne, Unit 202. Cool. Now, this is a 2-bed, 1 bath, 1 car apartment. Auction is $680,000 to $730,000. Auction 8th of July, 11 a.m. Get in there, get your beds in. Now, this property is in the original mural building.
Mural?
And the mural building. Now, I've got a little bit of history for you too as well. Give it to me,
man. Is this from the top of your head?
This is actually from the top of my head and a little bit of my notes that I came down, but it was built originally in 1891. It was a warehouse now it's a warehouse conversion into residential apartments.
Yep.
But there was a great fire in 1897. It destroyed 17 buildings around the area, and this was the only one remaining. And
Really?
that's right. And then so after then, it was kind of built and changed and built into bigger warehouses.
Adapted, yep.
And so originally it was built by McConnell and McIntosh.
Macintosh?
McIntosh.
Macintosh?
I don't think it's Macintosh. McIntosh. It's a Queen Anne revival style, and then
What's that mean?
oh, you know, it's a Queen Anne revival style. But what's interesting is that so it was subdivided in 2006. The building was originally designed actually by Reed Smart
I do
and
know
Tappan.
Reed. So Smart and Tappan.
Now, have you heard the name Smart before?
Get Smart?
Not only Get Smart, there's also an architectural firm called Bates Smart. Now, this is the original Bates Smart. Bates Smart, which is the current name, it's changed a lot over the years as different directors, etc., get involved. But Reed Smart and Tappan was the original Bates Smart.
Tap.
So tap and tap in your beard. Now, so this one here, when you look at the square metre rate, it's 68 square metres internally. It comes out to just over $10,000 a square metre. 2 bedrooms. Yep, one's a tiny bit small, but look.
Faces north.
Well, yeah, faces south.
South.
It's nearly north. But I think what's attractive is that you're in a very central location, and some people might find this is a little bit close to Flinders Street Station. But the area is undergoing a revival. It's undergoing gentrification because a few doors to your east.
Oh,
now,
got it.
Lend-Lease are undergoing a major development around where Young and Jackson's, which is one of the oldest pubs in Melbourne, just around there, and they're doing quite a lot of office there. So there's going to be a lot more people around the area. You know, retail's going to improve. There's going to be people walking around, and this building here, I think overall, it is a good-looking building.
It is a good looking building. Also, been the tenants in the building, there could be worse tenants. Vodafone and Combank. Is that the building?
Now, that is the building. Now, I hope that they are still the tenants in the building because tenants change and go around. But Degraves Street is a really cute street. You know, there's ice cream, there's cafes. It's one of the original kind of streets that was known for having a lot of Italian-style cafes. And, you know, things change over the years. But it's a very cool area to be.
Is there a hip?
And near the station, but what's very attractive is that it has a car space. Now, lots of places in the CBD in these older buildings won't have a car space.
What's car space worth? Like, we always debate this. Like, is it worth 30k? Is it worth 50k? Is it worth 100k in the city? Like, it's an interesting. How much value does it add to your apartment?
Particularly to now, I don't know. I can't confirm if this is a stacker or not. I don't think it'll be a stacker. I think it'll be actually a proper car space.
I don't think it would be if it was done in
earlier on. So look, overall decent size. The laundry is located in a good place. The area is undergoing a lot of gentrification. One of the issues is that in May 18, so what's that, about 5 years ago?
Yep.
It previously sold for $685,000. So if it sells within the quote range, it's not a huge amount of capital growth.
Or if any.
That's right, but that's quite common, I think, for CBD apartments as of the recent few years. We might see with all this rental appreciation going on that that changes and that they do appreciate quite a lot. So this one, it was rented for $600 a week, and that dropped to $400 during COVID, and then now it looks like it's renting for, I think, about $620, or there's one actually on the apartment lease directly above you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, directly above you, same layout, same amount of bedrooms, $675 a week. So I think, look, there's a lot to love about this sort of building. The area is undergoing a lot of change. It's got good clearance in that living room area.
That living room area is to die for. I love that.
Some people might find it a little bit low, so you might have a little bit of noise overlooking the station there. But then again, some people might like being close to the station.
Ben, for example, if you need to get to the train station, it's literally a hop, skip, and a jump.
A hop,
stone's
skip,
throw.
and I would say, a tiptoe.
Literally, you could probably run, or you could jump to the station.
If your windows were operable, you could actually jump out your window.
But we do not encourage that at all.
That is true. That might be a little bit dangerous. But overall, I think it's cute. I think it's nice. I'll be excited to see how this goes come auction day. And I think that's kind of it.
It is. Ben, if you had to buy one yourself, just out of not necessarily an investment, but out of a love for the property, which one would you go for? Where would you live?
I think, now, I really like Collingwood, the area, but I think I honestly reckon this Degraves thing is very cute. I think it'll be a great property to live in. It'll be a great one to Airbnb. It's got the car space in the CBD. I think that one's probably would be my number one, and then the Richmond one would be.
The Richmond one's pretty cool.
I think Richmond's a very nice, livable apartment also there's a bit of growth. You could live there by yourself. You could live there as a young couple. You could live there as a family. So
An old couple too. It does not
that's
matter
true.
your
Or
age.
an old couple, or a downsizers. Doesn't matter. Fits all sizes.
Exactly, and dogs and cats.
Okay, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in again. Look forward to next week, and we'll see you later, guys. Bye.
Toodaloo.